They weren't complaining. They weren't saying, we're never going to get out. This problem's too big. Why did this happen to us? No, they were singing praises. They were talking about the greatness of their God. They were speaking faith into their victory, into their future. What you say in your battle is extremely important. If you go around thinking, it's never going to work out, Joel. I never get any good breaks. Then you're going to get stuck. But when you start talking about how great your God is, how no weapon formed against you will prosper, how this problem didn't come to stay, it came to pass. I can do all things through Christ. I am more than a conqueror. That's when God will make things happen that you could never make happen. When these three armies heard all the singing, the shouting, the commotion, they got confused and began to fight among themselves. They ended up killing each other. When the people of Judah arrived, the enemies were already defeated. Just like God said, they didn't have to lift one finger in their defense. Stand still and you will see the victory. God will fight your battles. Those three armies left so many supplies, so much equipment, valuables, clothing, that it took the people of Judah 3 days to just collect it all. On the fourth day, the scripture says, they gathered at the valley of blessing to thank God for all He had done. Isn't it interesting? In the place where they faced their greatest enemies, their biggest challenges, God didn't call it the valley of conflict, the valley of struggle, the valley of opposition. He called it the valley of blessing. When you're in a tough time, you need to have this new perspective. That is not the valley of defeat. This is the valley of victory. This is not a valley to hold me back. It's the valley of promotion. It's not the valley of sickness. It's the valley of restoration. Like the people of Judah, what you're facing may seem insurmountable. Medical report doesn't look good. You lost your biggest client at work. Your child is not doing right. Those enemies may be big, but one touch of God's favor can turn it all around. Don't get discouraged. God has not brought you this far to leave you. Every voice may tell you that's a valley of defeat, man. You're never going to get out. You're never going to accomplish your dreams. The good news is you don't have to get out of the valley. God can bless you in the valley. The enemy may have meant it for your harm, but he doesn't have the final say. God does, and He says, stand still, and I'm going to show you my goodness. Stay in faith, and I'm going to turn that battlefield into your blessing field. What should have defeated you is going to increase you. You're going to come out better. I love the fact that it took them 3 days to gather up all the spoils. Would have been a great victory if God would have just defeated the enemy, spared their life. But no, God never brings you out the same. He makes the enemy pay for bringing that trouble into your life. And sometimes we think, well, I can just make it through this valley. God, if you just help me make it through this slow season at work. But God is saying, I'm going to turn that valley into a valley of abundance. Abundance of health, abundance of joy, abundance of resources. God is not a barely get by God. He's an overflow God. A more than enough God. A God of abundance. If you're a football fan, you probably know who Tony Dungy is. One of the great coaches of our day. After playing in the league for many years, in 1996, Coach Dungy got his first job as a head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team. He was so excited. It was a dream come true. He told me how he didn't know anybody in the organization, didn't have any inside contacts. Out of several other qualified candidates, they chose him. He knew that was the hand of God opening up that door. For 6 years, everything was going good. They were making progress, winning more games. But one day, unexpectedly, he was fired. They let him go. He thought, God, I know you gave me this job. I know this was your plan. I don't understand why this has happened to me. He was in the valley. Didn't make sense to him. He didn't get bitter. He didn't start complaining. He understood this principle that there's a blessing in every valley.